welcome to the next episode of the Fantasy Pints Podcast. We're back after last week's episode with Joe Astley. Did you enjoy that one, James?
Yeah, it was great. It was nice to actually have a chat with Joe because, again, I've known of him for a few years. I was going to pluck a number out of the air there, but it would have just been daft. I've had him on Facebook for a few years, and I've kind of been following what he's been doing from the sidelines. So it was nice to actually have a chat with him and get his thoughts on the pandemic, what he's been doing, and also get a bit of an update from him about his tracks and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's been a big week for music this week, with obviously the earlier announcement of the pilot event, which is happening in Liverpool, Sefton Park. So Blossoms, the Lathams and Zuzu will be playing. No social distancing, no masks, which is it's just an exciting prospect. There's light at the end of the tunnel for live music now.
Yeah, it's the government seems to have used Liverpool throughout the pandemic as sort of a trailblazing region in, trying out new things to try and move us forward out of the pandemic. So it obviously being relatively local to Liverpool, the pair of us are, it's quite exciting to see that, these events are going ahead and using the already in place testing infrastructure at Sefton Park as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah. And I spoke to Red Rum Club, who are a Liverpool band. That was for one of the interview features on the website, and they were saying that because of the tight-knit Liverpool community, they felt like they were sort of playing their part with these pilot events, which I thought was nice. The other thing that we can't avoid, which is handy for this episode, is football. There has of course been, there was the announcement of the European Super League, and then I think all but 3 clubs have now backtracked, and it's been quite a crazy week.
It's pretty much come crashing down to a halt as quickly as it started, and quite a fitting analogy that I have seen a few people post and repost on social media this week is the European Super League is the equivalent of sorting out a lad's holiday in Amsterdam before anyone's checked with the missus.
Yeah.
All these teams agreed, and then obviously when they saw the sort of the scrutiny off the back of it, just as quickly retracted themselves out of the agreement. And thankfully, in that, those clubs' decisions to do that is probably going to be the saviour of modern football.
Yeah, and we had booked today's guest before all of that had happened, but it couldn't be a more fitting guest, really. We've got a Premier League footballer on today, haven't we? So it'll be very interesting to see what he has to say. It's Ben Osborn from Sheffield United.
Perfect timing. So I'm looking forward to getting him on and having a chat with him about his music interests, of which we understand there are many, as well as his opinion on the European Super League and anything else that he's got coming up.
Yeah, because it was his music. He's on Twitter. He was vocal about the Snuts, getting the Snuts to number 1, which is where I first sort of clocked him, and then I noticed that he had a blog. So I think it'll be a really interesting conversation.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's get him in.
And we're joined this week by a special guest. He's a footballer for Sheffield United, Ben Osborn. How are you doing?
I'm all good, thanks, guys. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for joining us, mate. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
No worries, mate.
Good stuff. And obviously, there's only one place to start with a footballer on the podcast. It's been a whirlwind week in football. What have you made of the whole European Super League thing? What's it been like as a player?
It's just been an absolute farce, hasn't it? It's been complete madness. Now it's laughable the way it just went from 0 to 100 and then back down to 0 within about 24 hours. Yeah. Obviously, the day it broke, it was mental. I mean, we were in training. I was just getting the reaction of just wanted to have a look on social media and just in TalkSport on the drive in, and it just became apparent really quickly that it couldn't happen. Yeah. Fans, rightly so, were turning the back on the big clubs. And then, I mean, the way it went down on Monday Night Football that evening as well. Thought obviously Neville and Carragher spoke really well on the matter. It thankfully got kiboshed, and it looks like Man City were probably the first to do that, because obviously they don't want to break the relationships. And I've just read somewhere that Pep Guardiola might have had a word. To be honest, I think when you have managers like Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp, their sort of footballing background and everything that they stand for, I think it was always going to be in danger. So, I'm just glad it's finally it's not going to happen. But I think something has to change, though, definitely.
Yeah.
Just in terms of money, in terms of they just wait to keep rising and rising and rising. You've got Haaland looking at demanding ridiculous amounts. And it's just at this moment, it's just going to keep going up and up. So something has to happen, and hopefully something has to happen with like the ownership rules as well. It seems like Germany have a good model, even though I don't know too much about it. But it seems like they've got it pretty much nailed on, stuff like this. Football in general over there, I mean, the stadiums are packed out every week. Ticket prices are ridiculous. The grounds are all unbelievable. The facilities are all top draw. So I think it's something to look at.
Yeah. And it was obviously a quick turnaround for the 6 Premier League clubs. What do you think sort of the lasting impression is going to be now? Because obviously they've turned back on it, but people aren't happy still, are they?
No, I mean, they're not going to be, are they? To be honest, I've not been able to... Well, I couldn't watch any of the apologies because you know what they're going to say. So I've not even... I've seen that John Henry's obviously come out and apologised, and I think a couple others have, but I've not read any statements. I've just seen on the news that they've obviously backed out, and it's pretty obvious why they've backed out. So I mean, I don't know what they can do, but I think punishing the team and the fans by on the field stuff is probably not going to work. So I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah. No. And in terms of your own club, is the focus now on next season then? It's all about bouncing back, positive attitude.
Yeah, obviously it's not been a great year at all for us. So now it's obviously finally been confirmed that we've been relegated. We just want to start focusing on our performances, really, get that right. Hopefully, we'd love a couple of results before the end of the season to give us a bit of positivity going into next year. But if we can get our performances looking good before the end of the season and start, to be honest, like obviously we need a manager for next season. But if we can get our performances right, it'll give us something to go into next season with. And that's the aim, of course, to be right up there next year. Obviously, you've seen the teams this year that have gone down. They're fighting right back up there. Obviously, it looks like 2 of them are going to be promoted. So it's going to give us belief if we can keep the squad together. Yeah.
And obviously fans... Sorry, go on, Jake.
I was just going to say, best of luck with that, mate. And I was actually going to lead into the exact same point that I think you were about to make, Sean. We've pretty much done a full season now without fans. In fact, I think, towards the back end of last season when basically the Premier League came to a halt, it's been, we've been in the pandemic over a year now. Do you think that, or how do you feel playing in a huge stadium with absolutely no fans? Is it the same?
Oh, no. I mean, the sad thing is that it almost feels normal now. But it's crap, mate. It's crap. The whole, especially going to, obviously worked all our careers, most of us in our squad to like get here to the Prem. And you turn up at these unbelievable stadiums and it's just like ghost town. It's obviously it's not what we were expecting, obviously, when we came here, but it looks like hopefully we're coming to the end of that now. Can't come quick enough, to be honest.
What's the experience like on the pitch? Because obviously when we watch on the TV, they've got the sort of the fake crowd noise. But I would imagine all you can hear on the pitch is probably equivalent to like Sunday League, isn't it? Or you can literally hear everything that's being said, whereas previously that would have been drowned out.
Yeah, that is a big thing. You can hear every word the manager says, and what we've noticed is some managers like to control every aspect, whereas others will not say a word or hardly a word, and just come up with the odd thing. So that's obviously different. I think in the game, it doesn't feel too different. It's just when there's like lulls in the game or the other team's time wasting, or one thing for us, I think that's like killed us. Just obviously we've not been good enough, but last season we'd go away to someone or a big team and they'd be like, say there'd be 0-0 at half time against Sheffield United. Fans would start getting on the back, even if they've played well and we've just defended the goal. Fans would start getting on their backs. We'd know, right, come on, we've got the fans turning now. If we can keep it 0-0 or keep it tight till 60 minutes, they're going to start trying stuff, and then it opens up, and that's what used to happen. Because when you go to like Chelsea or Spurs, if they're not 2-0 up at half time against Sheffield United, the fans are on the back, and you see the players start panicking. Whereas now it doesn't happen, and you go to Chelsea or whatever, and they're just popping the ball around, just making you work without going anywhere, without causing anything. But they're not worried, they're not phased at all. So I think that's where it kind of hindered us a little bit.
And I spotted on your social media that you do work in terms of junior coaching, don't you? Is it elite football development? Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, mate. So it's something that me and my mate that I was in the youth team with at Forest set up about 2 years ago. Wanted to do something for a while, and he's a full-time coach anyway. So we just set it up, put on a few free sessions, see what the turnout was like, and it was good. And we wanted to do something different. So initially we thought that we wanted to focus mainly on like technique and technical sessions, because once you get past, I'd say probably 16, maybe 18, you don't really have time to work on that kind of stuff no matter what level you play, even if you're playing non-league or you're playing professional. It's more gearing up to the game, fitness and tactical work and stuff like that, and understanding the game. So we thought, let's make something where you're just working on your technique constantly. And we've sort of like evolved that over a couple of years. And it's been really good, mate. Hopefully we can keep it going and look to add a couple more venues.
Good stuff. And another thing I spotted on social media, which is the reason why I contacted you in the first place, was you're a big music fan, aren't you? And it's obviously the theme of our website, and you run your own blog. That's right, isn't it? So how did that come about?
Well, I started it on the first lockdown when obviously everyone got completely shut down, bored out my head, and I don't know. I was just watching a lot of telly, a lot of documentaries, and I had no one to like tell them to. So I just thought, I know I'm going to try a little blog. Kept it like to myself for a bit, and I thought, oh, go on, I'll stick it out there. And a few people like clicked on it and commented on it and stuff. And to be honest, I've not really done much since that lockdown ended. But I've got the odd mate that sometimes uses it to put stuff on there, and it's just. I'll definitely dabble in and out in it when I get any free time. Quite enjoyed it, but yeah, I'm no writer.
And you also tweeted about the Snuts, didn't you? About getting the Snuts to #1, which they did. So, how big do you think that is for sort of guitar music? And are you a big fan of that band?
Oh, mate, to be honest, I thought that album was unbelievable. Like, yeah, pretty good. That like for a debut album, I thought I was so impressed. I'd heard a few of their stuff like over the years that just on Spotify, and I seen they were playing in Derby, and Derby's not got great music venues at all. They've got decent music venues, but not that well known, and they don't normally get that big names really. And I seen
the venue, isn't it?
Yeah, the venue, yeah. And I seen the Snuts were playing there, so like I bought 2 tickets straight away as soon as that came out, and then I thought, right, we'll give this album a listen then. And I was just pretty blown away. I've been recommending it to everyone, but I think it might be one of them where it might need more than one listen to really get you.
Yeah.
But it was, big fan.
And how much control do you have over the music in the Sheffield United changing room? Has there been any snuts on that?
Well, we're still in separate changing at the training ground. We're in separate changing rooms, so we got about 4 or 5 to a changing room because of COVID.
Yeah.
But I've brought my speakers in, and it's normally between me and Mick Burney, really, who's got the tunes on in our little 5. And then on a match day, it's normally the kit man. To be fair, I've tried to get a hold of it a few times, but can never really sense the mood of the lads. That don't seem to be wanting to listen to the same things that I do.
Yeah.
So I just kind of leave that now. But to be fair, the tunes are normally all right.
I was going to say, what's McBurney into? Because he seems like a bit of a character. That's how he comes across.
Yeah, he's into a lot of similar stuff to me, and he likes his hip hop as well. I mean, I'd say I've got a varied taste, but he will literally listen to anything. He's into his music as well.
Good stuff. And obviously, we'll move on now then to the theme of the podcast, which is Fantasy Pints. So it's 3 musicians, past or present, that you could go for a beer with. People get confused with this, but you are all in the same room.
Oh, we're all together.
You are all together.
Yeah. So it'll be you and your three picks around the table at once.
I don't think that's going to work.
We'll soon see. So who's your first pick?
So, like I was saying to you, I think before we started, that I had 2 shoe-ins for this, and then one that was difficult. So, first shoe-in is Liam Gallagher. Probably loads of people have said him.
Yeah.
Obviously, I like Noel as well. Do like him. Quite a toss-up between them. I think obviously Liam might be a little bit more fun, and find his tweets and stuff hilarious. He just seems like a sound bloke. Yeah. But what swung it for me is my mate bumped into Noel Gallagher in Selfridges in London, and like asked him for a photo and that, and he's a bit standoffish and like, come on then, quickly, like all that, and made my mate feel a little bit awkward. And randomly, as though a couple of weeks later, he's in Selfridges, bumps into Liam Gallagher, and then he's like asked him the same thing, and Liam's like, yeah, no worries, mate, all this, like just dead approach. I thought, so that's probably, I've swung it Liam's way.
I think the common thing I think that people sort of take from the Gallagher brothers is that Liam seems to have a lot more time for his fans than Noel does.
Those 2 stories kind of sum up the perception at the minute, don't
they? Yeah.
So
yeah. I think Noel's just not bothered, is he? He's not. I've heard him on a few things. He's not bothered anymore. I still think he's a funny guy, and I still think he'd be a great crack in a boozer. But yeah, I think I'd love to have a day sesh with Liam.
Yeah, because you did an Oasis post on your blog, didn't you? That's what I spotted. It was about like the 2 solo careers, wasn't it?
Yeah, which again, like both big fans on. Probably prefer Noel's stuff in terms of solo careers. Phenomenal songwriter, obviously, as we all know. But huge fans of both of them. But I'm going for Liam on that one. Has he been said by everyone so far?
He's been said a few times. I used to do it as a general interview question before we made it into this, and I think it was Liam and Keith Richards were the 2 biggest picks.
Right. But, can you arrange it or not?
Absolutely no chance. Who's your second pick?
My second pick was my other shoe-in. That was Mike Skinner.
Oh yes.
So
nice.
Huge fanboy of him. Like, it's weird, probably the lengths how much of a fanboy I am. I think I've listened to everything he's ever released, read everything he's ever put out. Strange lengths, like to the point, like I got a cassette and a signed little thing delivered the other day, and my missus is like, "What are you doing?" But I'm not as bad anymore. But there was probably a period when I was like 16 to about 22, 23, where I was just obsessed. And
He's a really interesting bloke, isn't he? Like, I've heard him on, I think it was the Off Menu podcast. So he just
yeah. I mean, so I've listened to everything he's ever done. Yeah, he's an awkward character. It's one of them you don't want to meet your heroes. Yeah. And it's so I was thinking, like, I don't know if I want to be sat in a pub with him. It would be more going on a rave or a party with Mike Skinner, I think.
On the 21st of June, I would imagine, based on his one of his more recent releases. Did you see that? I sent a video into our group chat.
You did.
Last week's thinking that we literally just got into bed with my missus, and what obviously the video didn't show is I've literally been that 21st of June song's been stuck in my head, so I've just been singing it all night, and sent a video in. Basically, I sang it probably for the last time that night. She threatened to kick me out the house because she was sick of hearing it.
It was quite an entertaining video.
Yeah, it was good.
So, who's your third pick?
Third pick. So this was a tough one. Like I said, could have easily put Noel Gallagher in there, but I've gone for Jamie T. Another one. Just loved most of his albums, if not all his albums. Real big fan, and he seems quite elusive on the music scene. He comes and goes. Don't really know too much about him.
Yeah,
like he's not. He
doesn't put himself
about at all, does he?
No, I thought that as soon as you said it, I was like, I don't really know much about him. Like, obviously, I've listened to all his stuff, but as a person, I've not a clue.
Yeah,
if you've ever been to a gig anywhere, you've heard Zombie, because I think they play Zombie every single time before you're waiting for a band to come on. I don't think I've been. Yeah, I'm not
actually a fan of that song, to be fair.
No,
is it his earlier stuff?
And no, I do like his late stuff as well. Just that song just gets on my nerves a little bit. But yeah, I've seen him live. Seen him once in Germany, and he was unbelievable. And yeah, obviously one of them growing up, you relating to like loads of his songs and that. Just thought he was a real cool guy. And yeah, I'd like to hear a bit about his story, to be honest, if we were in a boozer. But I think he'd be one of them as well. When the guitar came out a bit later on, after a few pints, he'd be providing the entertainment. Probably not Mike Skinner, or I mean Liam Gallagher could, but
it could be quite a chaotic evening.
Yeah. So I was thinking, obviously, yeah, like I say, Mike Skinner. I think it would be awkward in the boozer with him, because he seems to just absolutely love a rave at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Jamie T and Liam, I think it could be decent night.
No, three good choices. I'm surprised people don't pick Mike Skinner more. Like they never used to. I think it probably been picked once when I did it in the interviews, and then obviously we've only just started this, and it's not been picked at all. So yeah, good choice.
It's probably because when he appears on like podcasts and that, like you say, the off menus just.
Yeah, I thought he was quite deep, wasn't he? Like he was really. I thought he was interesting to listen to, but yeah, I can imagine.
Anytime he gets asked anything, he just answers it in like the most deepest meaning.
Yeah.
But that's why I say, like, I'd like to just go out where we're not just having conversation. We're probably just more on a rave.
Yeah,
with him. But still, like, yeah, I've got to meet him.
Yeah. No, good stuff. Good choices.
Thank you.
Yeah. But thanks very much for coming on. Thanks for your time. And,
no problem.
Yeah, just all the best, obviously, for next season and the remainder of this season, really.
No, cheers, guys.
And is there anything that you want to plug? Is there anything that you've got going on that you want to sort of get out there on the podcast?
Nothing at all, mate. Absolutely nothing. No, you've mentioned elite football development. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Other than that, nah, nothing.
It's been a quiet year for everyone, I think, really, hasn't it? It's been for the obvious reasons. No, thank you so much for your time, mate. It's been fantastic. Really appreciate that.
No worries.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so thanks to Ben for coming on. He was a good guest, and I think, like we said when we started it, we're trying to get guests from different backgrounds, from sort of different sectors, and he fits that bill, and that's what we'll try to continue doing going forward.
Timing couldn't have been any more perfect, really. As you mentioned before we spoke to Ben, we obviously have Ben booked on to come on for a good few weeks now. So the timing of the whole ESL drama that sort of has taken its place or taken its course over the last week or so couldn't have been more perfect for us to get him on today and get his thoughts on it, because it's easy to look at it from an outsider's perspective, but on a completely different note, it's way more interesting to see an insider from the footballing world thinks of it, and it's quite clear that the footballers seem to think exactly the same as 99.9% of the fans do. So
yeah, I thought he spoke really well about it, and I thought he gave some good choices. I thought like Mike Skinner, like I said, I thought he'd be picked more often than he is, so I was quite happy that he went for him. And Jamie T, I was impressed with that one. And then I think Liam Gallagher's going to be picked by so many people, but it's understandable why. Like some people just can't not pick him. If you're an Oasis fan, you're going to pick him, and there's lots of Oasis fans. So
maybe one day we'll get Liam on and see who he'd pick.
John Lennon.
And yeah, that's probably not far off, is it? Well, guys, thanks for listening. It's been a pleasure. This is odd because Sean usually sort of finishes the outros off, but I'm going to do it today. As always, the podcasts will be available on all streaming platforms, as well as the video version on YouTube, where you can find us at the Northern Chorus YouTube channel. You can find posts about the podcast, as well as interviews and everything else that Sean is sharing on Twitter at Northern Chorus _, Instagram at Northern Chorus, and on Facebook at Northern Chorus UK. We post a podcast every week, and we look forward to getting the next one out for you next week. We are aiming for Thursdays, but it might not always be Thursdays. There's a possibility that we're going to have some bonus episodes out midweek in coming weeks, but we will see. Sean, have you any comments?
No. Sorry, you caught me off guard then.
That's all for now. See you later.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening.